Hello, my name's Ben and I'm from the UK Historian channel. Welcome to our YouTube channel. I thought I'd just do a quick video on some of the books that I've read recently. It's only 4 books, so it should be a relatively short video. But the ones I'm going to tell you about is this one. It's called Stan Lee, How Marvel Changed the World, written by Adrian Mckinder. Then we've got The Codebreaker Girls, A Secret Life at Bletchley Park, written by Jan Slimming. And then The Anglo-Soviet Alliance, Comrades and Allies During World War II, written by Colin Turbot. And then finally we've got a paperback here for a change. This is called Sister Sleuths, Female Detectives in Britain, written by Nell Darby. Right, first of all, let's go backwards. The Sister Sleuths book is basically looking at the role of women who have got into like detective agency and like basic crime fighting offices, a bit like your private eye roles, where they'll do a lot of the paperwork, going around finding out information, various clues, talking to people. What you find when you read in the book, it dates back to about the 1850s. If I just read you this bit at the top. The 1857 Divorce Act paved the way for a new career for women, that of private detective. To divorce you needed proof of adultery, and men soon realised that women were adept at infiltrating households and befriending wives, learning secrets and finding evidence. Whereas previously women had been informal snoops within their communities, now they were getting paid for it, towing a fine line between offering a useful service and betraying members of their sex for money. At first, I must admit, when I first saw the book, I was thinking, it'd follow along the lines of, your Agatha Christie's, and it would be like, some old lady solving crimes and mysteries, and a bit like an Agatha Christie book or a Poirot, things like that. But it's not like that. It's kind of looking at everyday detective work and how the role of women can get different kinds of evidence, different types of things, and women have like a different knack of asking different questions and what to look for, and they're often better at finding the fine details in things. But overall, it was a really good book, and it's part of a trailblazing women's season, and I really enjoyed it. And that's from Pen and Sword Books at $14.99. It's in paperback. And if you check out their website, you should be able to buy it direct from them, or I'll put a link underneath this video, and you should be able to get a copy there. The second book is The Anglo-Soviet Alliance, Comrades and Allies During World War II. Now this is an excellent book. It kind of marries with obviously during World War II, Russia was one of our allies, along with the Americans and the British and the French. And obviously, if you've read up a bit about World War II, you'll know about the Arctic convoys. and they used to take supplies, weapons and munitions from Britain along the northern coast of Europe up towards the Arctic, and then cross into northern Russia that way. They would dock at the ports there, and then they'd drop off all the things like munitions, tanks, weapons, raw supplies of material to help the Russians build their items and weapons and that sort of thing. So there was actually quite a good bond between the Allies, especially Winston Churchill and Stalin. It's a very informative book. It's really good. And also, if you find throughout the book, there's quite a lot of text, but then many of the pages have pictures on, and I've read that. Let's see if we can find a couple of more decent ones. There's things like posters, advertisements, things like that. But basically these all come from the author himself, who's an avid fan of Russian history. And it's an excellent book in that it marries the official agreements and politics along with the lives and what the Russian people thought and how they got along during World War II. But that's really good. And that's also from Pen and Sword Books. This one's priced at £25, written by Colin Turbot, and it's certainly a 4 or 5 star rating from me. Right, the third book is The Codebreaker Girls, A Secret Life at Bletchley Park, written by Jan Slimming. Priced at £25, also from Pen and Sword Books. And if I just read you this little bit from the back, a fascinating insight into a daughter's discovery of her mother's secret life during World War II. Original letters and photographs from family and friends archives, including the Vatican War Inquiry Department, the Foreign Office, Bletchley Park, and the National Archives. How was Daisy Lawrence, the lady the book is about? How was she chosen? What did she do? Learn about her early life and meet the friends and colleagues who covertly worked to defeat the Axis powers while personal anxieties raged inside. Discover what happened to Daisy after the war and the tumultuous consequences of carrying a noble but secret burden for most of her life. And the thing is, in this book, the lady in question kept it secret. Obviously, during the war, she had to keep it secret from where she worked and what they did. But she also kept it secret from her family. And it wasn't until years later that her daughter actually found out what she did during the war. And it's an excellent book in that when we hear about Bletchley Park, it's often about cracking the Enigma code and Alan Turing and all the work his team did in cracking the various codes and beating the German Enigma machine so that they were able to then hook into telegram messages and that sort of thing and decode all the messages so that they could then have a better idea of what the Germans were up to. This looks at the work of the women in the background, lots of intelligent women who were good at things like maths, geometry, science and all that, and it really tells the story of what they did, how they got on, what codes they were cracking, how they were sending messages back and forth as well, and how they were playing tricks on the enemy as well. And it's a really good book. it feels a bit like you're reading a fiction book, but it's actually all non-fiction, and it's all truthful, and an excellent book to read. Again, that's from Pen and Sword Books, £25 in hardback, and I'll put a link to that below this video. And finally, the last book, Stan Lee, How Marvel Changed the World by Adrian Mckinder. Now, I wasn't a big fan of Stan Lee's before. I've certainly watched most of the Marvel films, and along with my wife and my two sons, we've all watched sort of from the beginning all the way up to the last, what was it, Avengers Endgame or something like that, and they've all been really good films. I've quite enjoyed them. But this book looks at Stan Lee, the man himself. It looks at him and the before he started in the comic book industry, and it's really about the growth of the Marvel comics and working in the industry, and how and the ups and downs of working in the industry and competing with other people and other comics, other franchises. And really it shows Stan Lee as a bit of he's a bit of an entertainer, I would say, or if you would imagine a salesman, he's a bit like, or a wrestler. You know, they stand there and, you know, they show off, and, you know, everything's all about them, and he's quite that sort of character. But he's a really good man, and it's quite an amusing story, and so I thoroughly enjoyed the book. If you wanted to buy the book specifically for like the films or the characters, there's a little less of that. There is a mention sometimes in them, but it's really about the man himself, Stan Lee. How Marvel Changed the World by Adrian Mckinder. This is £19.99. That's pounds, by the way. And that's by White Owl Books. If you go to Pen and Sword Books, you can also buy it through them. But like I said, I'll put a link to all of these books below the video in the comment section. That's it all for now. Hopefully we'll see you next time on the channel. I should probably do another one in a couple of days' time. You can catch me at my website if you want to visit that. That's ukhistorianbendavidson.co.uk, or you can reach me on Twitter or Instagram, and you can find me at The History Fella. Please, thank you very much for watching this video. It's much appreciated. Please click and subscribe to the channel, and we'll get a lot more videos out for you. And feel free to tell your friends, family, anyone else who might be interested in books. And thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.